Havi on behalf of a parent who's also an advocate. Now, the competency-based curriculum that CBC now faces that legal hurdle that we've been speaking about, as that parent moves to court to have its implementation halted until the case is heard and, of course, determined. Now, Esther Angawa is also an advocate of the High Court, and she says the legal framework we have discussed necessary for the change of the system and structure of education from the 844 or the adoption of the CBC curriculum recommended to the Education CS Professor George Magoha, and the Kenya Institute of Curriculum by the National Assembly has not been put in place. Let's take a look at this report.
Since the day it was set into motion, the competency-based curriculum CBC has met obstacle after obstacle, parents decrying the cost that comes with, while stakeholders poked holes in it, insisting it was ill-timed and that the country wasn't ready for it. A bullish Education CS Professor George Magoha, however, telling off dissenting voices, insisting the train already left the station. The mamas now headed to court after a parent who is also an advocate of the High Court, Esther Angawa, through her lawyer Nelson Havi, sought to have the implementation of the curriculum halted. Angawa has sued Cabinet Secretary in charge of basic education, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, the Kenya National Examinations Council, NEC, the Teachers Service Commission, TSC, the Kenya National Union of Teachers, NAT, the National Assembly, Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and Education CS Professor George Magoha. She says the legal framework necessary for the change of the system and structure of education from 844 or the adoption of the CBC curriculum recommended to Education CS George Magoha and Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development by the National Assembly has not been put into place to date. She further faults KICD for failing to demonstrate that it initiated and conducted research to inform the approval to the national government of the CBC curriculum. An excerpt of the court document reads, quote, "The entire process of conception, introduction and implementation of the CBC curriculum in basic education is undertaken in an opaque manner without observing the law and participation of the people," end of quote.
Because it was well researched, you will ask yourself, why should an educated person go and say, you see, CBC never passed through Parliament? And then that conversation continues for a very long time. Yet everybody knows that the document was stuck there for 6 months.
The national rollout of CBC started in January 2019, and pre-primary 1 and 2 and grades 1, 2 and 3 in lower primary, Christ and Us 26333 curriculum tipped as a game changer in the country's education as it seeks to plug gaps noted under the 844 system. On this, she says Magoha and his team's actions are unconstitutional and prejudicial to the future of the children of Kenya and ought to be halted pending determination of the question raised in the petition. Her prayer is that the Chief Justice empanels a bench to hear the matter certified as urgent. The reservations about the CBC are now snowballing into an epic legal battle, with the petitioners calling for the halting of its implementation. But the CS for Education, Professor George Magoha, telling off those opposed to the curriculum, saying it is the permanent cure for the culture of examinations cheating and that it is skill-centered. Alan Ochanda, KTN News.
Well, Nelson Havi, the president